Let's take it from the beginning. This is a true story. It's all based on facts and reality. Yeah, it's about my family tree and my journey from a young boy or from a boy straight up to where I'm at right now. But the journey never been easy. Start from when I was a young boy. My mother and father separate. And both go their own way for one reason or another. Well, I heard a lots of different story connected. Even when I was young. Some of it was like a gossip, and there was reality in some of the speech that come from the elders. But in those days you could not really sit down and truly look into an elder's mouth. They would have shut you up or rush you. Out of curiosity, I started asking my mother, because I were not brought up with my mother. I never have so I was brought up with my father. Madeline came into the picture. Madeline Fraser. She came into the picture later. She was from Jerusalem, so to speak. That's where her mother did live also. Well, I don't know how they come together, but one day I saw her come by with Daddy on a Friday. It was a Friday. I don't know if because he got paid on that particular day, and she just come to collect money and him just bring him home for whatsoever. But introduced her to us and said, her name is Madeline and you guys must call her Miss Madeline. And as usual, I never call them no Miss whatsoever them name. I more call them Auntie. My sister was more into calling any of these women that Daddy would brought home. So I said, well, I'm Auntie, and she said, I'm here. Father, you guys are nice, nice looking kid you have. And he asked Daddy, where is the mother? And Daddy said, well, I'm separate for some time. And she lives somewhere in Darlistan. She was a young, beautiful black woman. By the time, I think it was 1.5, 2 weeks after, she moved in to take care of us, and Daddy said she's here now to take care of us, but we need to have someone. We have to start go to school in a serious sense, and my sister will have to pick up earlier, and she needs some help for all this to work out. It didn't bother me, so it was all good. So finally, I started to go to Mr. Grant's school. First it was Miss Rowe, and then Mr. Grant. This time I never know my mother-in-law have a son called Desmond. And Desmond is a charcoal like a black boy. She didn't even look like she have a child yet. She's a very hard-working woman, but she happened to break up my father's household after spending some time with my father. As time goes by, I didn't like her very much as a kid. I never see she really train her son in the same way she trained me. So later at that time, I never pay attention to that neither, 100%. But the boy was a little bigger than me, so I thought he maybe already learned all the things that he was showing me. We are very much actually the same age, but he was like maybe 2 years older. One thing lead up to the other, I start to see another side about my stepmother. So at one point I like her. As the next point, I didn't really like her. But what gonna make me totally disliked her is when she started to have me helping her throwing cane top in the cane field. I realized she's working me as a kid harder than I supposed to, but her excuse is because I was waiting for my birth certificate before I could have registered in the new school. Well, as a kid, you don't always know everything. So I was going with the flow and at the same time helping her. So one particular day, to throw the cane top and help her to carry stuff, water and get them stuff. Not really. I don't do too much of the extreme hard, but it was still hard for a kid to do some of the work that she was asking me to do. And at the same time, for my age, age 5, 6, I was already work what I didn't ready for, but I was doing them anyway. So, and in those days, it was very poor for most people in the countryside. You could see the big class different. Nowadays it's like either you're rich or you're poor, but those days was you could see the between the middle, you could see between the rich and even the poor. So the poor would be like my father was poor. He did live in a little board house with half of it wackel, and we used to use newspaper to block the bamboo that you can see through the bamboo. So, and we choose starch. They draw on it, and Christmas time they would look for new newspaper to put over that one with pictures on it and stuff like that. In those days, Jesus, every Christmas, my family would go to get almanac, and you would have a blue-eyed guy with blonde hair known as Jesus. And in those days, the Old Testament Bible, you could find Jesus white in the front page with blonde hair, blue eye, and you would find Satan black in the back of the book. So there was a whole lot of things was going on, which at those time I would not understand, but I was looking at them. So as a kid, I was helping my stepmother doing work I'm not supposed to do. It was more bigger boy or adult work, but I was helping because I was strong and I was happy to help. My father was more a farmer, so he didn't foresee. He say if I can eat, if I can eat and drink, then I should work for help to make it possible. So he didn't worry about what I was helping his woman to do, or neither when he sent me to the bush to move the cow or to do stuff, early in the morning, because he have to go to work early also. So he always wake up within the 5 o'clock. Sometimes he leave him his breakfast because he went out in the field when the sun is rising. If he start to chop before the sugar cane before the sun rise. When it's get too hot, it's too devastated in the hot field there. One particular day, while I was helping her, my stepmother decided he and one man they called Ishmael was working. I didn't like Ishmael from the beginning, but this particular day they're gonna make me totally dislike the man and dislike my mother, my so-called stepmother, even much more. She said to me I should go and fetch her some peg bread, also ice water from the shop. Well, while Ishmael only used to smoke a pipe, so he want me to get him a piece of raw tobacco. So I feel this urge that something was not quite okay without, as a kid, able to put my finger, but just see the man. Oh, he always look at my stepmother. I know he up to something, but I still didn't put my finger in it. So at the age of 5 going 6, within that age, or 6 going 7, I don't quite remember. What I do remember that I run to the shop. After I run to the shop, um, and come back. I come back so fast that they themselves couldn't believe, because they sent me to a faraway shop, which I'm not supposed to come back, but I run, I did not walk. By the time I come back, I catch him in the act with my mother underwear down, my stepmother, and Ishmael underwear down, and they was in the sock doing it. I was very embarrassed to see that she's supposed to represent my stepmother, and she was doing it with her boss, because he was the person she was working with at the time. So when I got home, even though my stepmother was like saying to me, "Don't say anything, boy, what you see?" So I was just vexed all till I could have seen my father. So I tell my father, and I guess my stepmother rubbed my father head or whatsoever he did for him in the night. My father totally forget I tell him what I tell him. I heard they start a conversation, but it didn't last too long before, I guess, him fling it up well, and my daddy make love to him more cold and crucial. I don't know what she did, but it goes sour, so yeah. I tell my father, and my father got upset with me, wake me up in the morning before they out of my sleep, and beat me with a guava bud switch, because her story was, I tell a lie on her. She were not guilty, and as a boy I was just fantasizing, or I don't like her as a stepmother, or what I hate about her she don't know, but she did not did this. And I know what I totally see as a kid. I see that it happened in the trench. The thing what hurt me more than all, concerning what I saw and the whole procedure, one of the things that hurt me into all this, my father spanked me for the truth, and she, when my father went to work, spanked me again for the same thing. So yeah, until I come again, I'm out. Give away my father body parts to another man, but she also gave it to a man that only did have one eye. So it's a one eye man with a one dick and a one hole into another hole, and this is what take place where them go plant the corn.